Every year, over 2 million Indian students sit for the NEET exam, all fighting for a fraction of available government medical seats. The math is brutal, and the vast majority are mathematically guaranteed to miss the cutoff. If you miss that government seat, you hit a financial cliff. Securing admission in an Indian private medical college routinely costs upwards of 1 crore rupees. This flowchart shows the reality without 1 crore in the bank. You face 3 paths: drop a year, pay the exorbitant private fee, or study abroad. But studying abroad brings heavy baggage, with families worrying about freezing climates, language barriers, and returning home to practice. For a pragmatic, budget-conscious family, paying a 1 crore domestic premium represents a high-cost gamble. A high-quality international degree acts as a strategic financial hedge against a broken domestic admission system. Traditionally, students look at Russia, China, or Eastern Europe. But there is an option that eliminates the extreme geography and language barriers located right next door. Nepal is currently the highest return, lowest friction international medical degree available to Indian aspirants. It works so well because academically and culturally, Nepal functions almost like a direct extension of the Indian medical education system. The trade-off is straightforward. You bypass the brutal competition for an Indian domestic seat, and in exchange, you gain immediate access to a heavily discounted, globally recognized program. Nepal serves as a calculated academic detour for students who prioritize career speed and clinical efficiency over traditional study abroad tropes. Earning a medical degree overseas is only half the battle. The ultimate barrier is passing the mandatory Indian licensing exam to legally practice medicine when you return home. India is transitioning to the National Exit Test, or NEXT, which will set a much stricter standard for testing a young doctor's actual clinical competency. This matrix shows why graduates returning from Russia or China often struggle. They spend years learning medicine in a foreign language, diagnosing conditions that are rarely seen in South Asia. Nepal removes that handicap entirely. Its medical colleges teach in English, using a curriculum standardized to Indian guidelines. Looking at this final row, Nepal shares the exact same tropical disease spectrum as India. A student examining a patient in Kathmandu is diagnosing the exact same cases they will eventually treat in a clinic in Mumbai or Delhi. Because the training aligns perfectly, Indian students graduating from Nepal historically achieve significantly higher pass rates on their screening exams. These programs also push students into early clinical rotations inside large teaching hospitals, building hands-on diagnostic familiarity well before they graduate. By choosing Nepal, you aren't fighting to translate a foreign medical system. You are actively preparing for your Indian licensing exam from day one. All of this clinical parity brings us to the financial elephant in the room. What does this actually cost? This chart graphs cost against academic friction. Because the fee structure in Nepal is government regulated, the entire 5.5-year course sits between 40 and 65 lakhs. Compared to Indian private institutions, the pricing is highly transparent. There are no capitation charges and no hidden donation fees. Naturally, paying half the domestic price point triggers skepticism about whether the degree is actually valid. The National Medical Commission, formerly the Medical Council of India, officially recognizes these degrees for returning students. They also hold the global accreditations required by databases like the ECFMG, meaning graduates can pursue international practice in the US or the UK. These aren't fly-by-night operations. The colleges are backed by large, well-equipped teaching hospitals with heavy patient flow and modern ICUs. Nepal delivers the exact regulatory safety and international mobility you expect from a premier medical degree, at half the price of an Indian private college. One major hidden tax of studying abroad is the psychological strain. Extreme culture shock and isolation frequently cause students to burn out. Nepal offers a unique bureaucratic loophole. Due to open borders, Indian citizens do not need a passport or a student visa to study there. The cultural affinity is perfectly matched. Hindi and English are widely spoken, and the mess halls serve identical Indian dietary staples. The medical campuses themselves feature heavy 24/7 security, separate hostels, and strict anti-ragging measures enforced by the administration. Removing culture shock allows students to reallocate their entire cognitive load. They can focus exclusively on rigorous medical studies rather than the day-to-day friction of basic survival in a foreign environment. Choosing Nepal represents the most efficient arbitrage available in modern medical education. This checklist shows the ideal candidate: students who cleared NEET but refused to wait years for an improbable government seat, families within a 45 to 65 lakh budget, avoiding crippling private college debt, and pragmatic students prioritizing their NEXT exam without learning a new language. The real trade-offs are simple. You still have to leave home, and you will face stiff competition for the seats at the absolute top-tier Nepalese institutions. Becoming a successful doctor requires minimizing the friction between your ambition today and your final medical license tomorrow. Geographically, financially, and academically, an MBBS in Nepal offers Indian students the undeniable path of least resistance to a successful career in medicine.